It's time for our daily dose of Cope, and we have the Honorable Reverend Leroy Leopard at the news anchor's desk for the Leopards News Network. There are so many delicious faces and delicious stories to report on today. Me and Persephone have just been watching in awe, thoroughly entertained. So let's jump in. Y'all are gonna love this Facebook post from this man named Luke. Luke says, "Yo, dead ass though. I voted for Trump, but like, to be honest, bro hasn't done anything. What has bro done this time around? Because I swear, bro, everything is still so damn expensive. Rent is out of control. It's damn near impossible to get a decent job unless you want to work 70 hours a week. There isn't any money being spent. Man, honestly, this is just hopeless." I don't know why that made me laugh so much, but Luke is not feeling this time around, bro. This made me laugh. Before I start, I cannot stand how people put these spaces here between the period or the comma. What is the purpose for that, bro? Oh, okay, but let's look at what Terry Lee Shattuck is talking about. Terry Lee says, "I hate to say it, but the only thing that has gotten better is a big drop in egg prices and a little in fuel costs. Insurance, utilities, property tax, meat, interest rates, most groceries, and just about everything else is still through the roof. I voted for Trump to change these things, which have no effect on him personally, and it's looking as if these are not really his focus." What? I understand he seeks some payback for they put him through, and it's understandable. But if we, the people who supported you, are not your number one priority, we are feeling a bit hustled. If you're dragging in billions in tariffs, it's time to kick some of that back to the folks that trusted you. Not all of us have incomes in the six-figure range, and we're hurting out here. The thing is, all of this stuff is more expensive because of him raking in billions in tariffs. We're the one paying the tariffs. These people are so dumb. That's the reason why no, I'm sorry, poor MAGA is up there on the stupidity list. Robert responded to Terry Lee saying, "It took Biden 4 years to get us here. Let's give Donald at least half that much time to get us back." And to that, Terry Lee says, "Trying to be patient, but I just got this $500 utility bill. That's ridiculous." Most of our issues are because of Trump and his decision making, the tariffs, the trade war, pulling back the grants and subsidies that has impacted all of our household budget. So this is what you voted for, Terry Lee. This person named P Chunk Works is not a fan of Democrats. So he made a comment on Maxwell Frost's post saying, "Every one of you people needs to be investigated for possible crimes against the American people." He is a fan of Elon Musk. Elon Musk said back in February, saying, "Obviously, Doge is trying to stop your tax dollars from being stolen for waste and fraud." And to that, P Chunk Works says, "Dems are a bunch of crooks." Responding to Elizabeth Warren, he says, "Democrats don't belong in our government. Only reps that represent Americans. You are only in it for yourself." Elon Musk happily reposted this, and this says FAFO, Federal Agency for Financial Oversight. You know, it's a joke the way they came in, slashing jobs and cutting grants and stuff. And P Chunk Works liked it. He says, "I like it." This person named Janine reposted this screenshot of this article. She says, "Is this what you voted for?" And it says, "Trump strips legal protections for 500,000 Haitians in the United States." And P Chunk Works, he says that this is absolutely what he voted for. He says yes. Now he's responding to Donald Trump, saying, "I voted for you, and you ran on lowering electric bills. This needs your immediate attention. I'm retired and on Social Security, and my bill for this month is $183. They jacked up my house payment because the property taxes and insurance increased this year by $151. There goes my heating oil." He has obviously too much time on his hand because he's always over here tweeting and stuff. But Trump doesn't give a damn about these people. He's too busy trying to build this $200 million gold and gaudy ballroom to be worried about people that are struggling because of almost $200. Poor MAGA, they really baffle me. Poor MAGA is also dumb MAGA. I saw this article in the Alabama subreddit. It says Black Belt counties struggle financially. Experts call for Alabama tax reform. And it says several poor rural Alabama counties have encountered tens of thousands to even more than a million in deficits in recent years trying to keep up with what they owe for services to residents, according to state audits. Counties are supposed to, by law, balance the book at the end of each year and not have any deficits. While Macon County is one of those struggling to keep up, its financial deficits stem largely from a different issue than other counties in the region: the state's forced closure of electronic bingo. I highlight this because Alabama is one of those impoverished red states, and it's talking about these poor rural counties. Many of these red states are welfare states, they are taker states. They are not bringing in enough money to pay for the services that they need. But this is where a lot of MAGA live. They live in these poor states and they are welfare recipients because they need federal funds. Yet they keep voting in Republicans, and they voted for Donald Trump, and they voted for Doge to cut all of their welfare off. They are going to continue to struggle. They're not going to be able to balance their books at all without some, dare I say, socialism. Some of the comments under this post. Just Another Scott says, I'm all for tax reform, but how are you going to get taxes out of a dead horse? That's the biggest problem with Alabama. We lack adequate infrastructure, education, healthcare, etc. Companies aren't exactly excited about moving here. They only do because wages are a step above slavery. Oh, and fast food restaurants were found to be using slave labor from the Alabama Department of Correction. These states are going to stay at the bottom. Republican states, these red states, they're going to stay at the bottom and then just keep trading off with which state is the worst. I used to be that guy says this: without investment in development to grow the region, tax reform is small comfort. Places in the Black Belt don't even have sewer systems yet, so they'll need a lot more than a tax break. And Just Another Scott says, and that's why Trump's administration cutting all these investment programs for poor states is going to be detrimental. Trying to increase tax revenue is a catch 22. You have to have an educated workforce and infrastructure for companies to want to move here. Without it, companies will just simply go to other states, including ones with higher taxes. Companies aren't exactly fleeing California, for example. Without federal programs, the state cannot afford to invest in its workforce or infrastructure. This lack of funding will likely lead to companies fleeing the state for areas that are simply better. Lazy Custer says, not going to fix anything. Alabama needs an entire government reform. Kick out the corrupt Republicans. Vote in well-educated working class youthful candidates who understands what needs to be fixed, how to do it, and has integrity to reject the same bribes and kickbacks from the oligarchs that the previous seats were taking to keep things regressed, and actually pass real working change. But no, they want to elect a football coach who can't even stop his team from sucking and isn't even a resident of the state. Don't they also have Katie Britt? Isn't Katie Britt from Alabama? They have all of these extra Christian-y people. Is there no wonder that nothing is getting done? Even with praying to Jesus? RFG says, aren't most of the double digit sales tax cities and towns located in the Black Belt? You can only punish the population so much. I think it's time for income tax reform. The state basically has a flat tax, which has most paying a larger portion of their income than even the high tax states like California. I know I pay less state income tax out there on an even larger income. They're going to have to, but the thing is, they don't want to vote in people that they don't want to vote in Democrats. They're just going to keep voting in these Republicans who want to just squish their state into the ground. This whole state is going to have to fall apart. Many of these red states will have to fall apart before they do anything. Now I want to talk about this town hall with this Republican from Nebraska named Mike Flood. The constituents in Nebraska basically flooded his town hall and were booing the hell out of him. They were they were so mad. And we need to hear this because the anger in their voices is palpable. But they keep voting in Republicans, and Republicans are screwing them all different ways. So let's watch some of these angry constituents at this town hall.
My question is fiscal. With $450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and $600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
I'd like to know how you expect to pay back all of this debt that is going to be layered onto our grandchildren because we're not willing to make our rich part of our society pay their fair share.
So what's interesting about that, and I think it's a fair question, two things are happening here. People in here are upset with me that I voted to cut $2 trillion in spending from the budget.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States. It talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care. Okay. So here's a question. Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care? I don't think that a majority of Nebraskans agree with you.
Why are you covering up the Epstein files?